Good morning. Happy Sunday morning to everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to another Marion Trainer Live. All right. As always, we get started by giving you from some of our sponsors. And of course, the first one I'm going to talk about is Marion Trainer Healthy Family Recipe Book. It has been a popular one, and I appreciate the love, the support that everybody has been buying them. We have hit some record sales in the past few months, and I'm very excited and just elated about it. So thank you all again. And the one I've been researching a lot this week about, and we're talking about Pink Lotus. Women, you do not have to suffer in silence. And there is a big push for dealing with menopause. And actually on Pink Lotus, they do have a product called Menopause. Check it out. Click on MarionTrainer.com. Click on Pink Lotus, and it will take you to there. And when you go to the part about products, and you'll see the menopause there. Plant-based, made just for women. There are a ton more products on there dealing with weight loss, dealing with weight management, also dealing with energy. It's a ton of stuff on there, but that is the one that has been highlighted and talked about the most, is about menopause. And it has really been a silence. More women suffering in silence and not understanding if anybody understands. And that's what I teamed up with Pink Lotus to do, is to help you so you don't have to suffer in silence. Okay. Another thing I'm going to talk about is your identity. You don't want identity theft. You go to MarionTrainer.com, click on Identity IQ. As I told you before, it happened to me. I thought it couldn't, but it did. And it can take you a while to get things straightened out. And that's why I chose them. For what? And you can get started for just as little as $1. So y'all check that out. And last but definitely not least, we want to talk about Educate to Participate. Onboard101.com/Marion Trainer. It will give you all the insights of the basic parts of nutrition, training, and basically showing you how your body actually burns and what it burns for fuel. That is very important to know as well. It is a 12-module course, and it also has, especially for my personal trainers out there, it is a CEU, or even for nurses, or even for dental hygienists. You can take those, and there definitely are CEUs. So, MarionTrainer.com, click on, or you can go to, because it is an app. It's onboard101.com/Marion Trainer. Okay. So let's just really get into it. And if you saw the title being put up, we're talking about leveling up. What does that mean? For some of the gamers out there, they may understand it, but there is such thing as leveling up your life, and there's categories in your life that you want to level up. So, and what we're gonna start with is one of the things we want to talk about is about your mental health and your physical health. Because if your mental health is not right, your physical health is not going to be right. And one of the things you want to really just kind of zone in on, and this is really big as far as your mental health and your physical. You basically want to manage, because a lot of people do this, and nobody really puts a highlight on it, but it does happen. I consult with people all the time, and this happens, is stress eating. You got to be able to manage that. And as easy it is to say, I know it is hard to do, but you must manage that. You have to know what your cravings are. My secret go-to is, and as I told you all, I take prednisone. So, and speaking of leveling up, I have to level up to stay on point so it does not affect me. And for all of you out there who know that prednisone can wreak havoc on you. And for me, my leveling up is when I start, and it really affects your adrenaline. It makes you feel like you want to eat the whole house. I drink H2O. And now that I'm also learning about H3O, it is really good. It's a combination of putting water with fresh fruit, blending it up and drinking it, and you stay hydrated longer. That's another Marion Trainer tip that I got from someone that helped me give this tip to you. So again, and the number 2 part we're going to talk about, and and we'll stay on the part about the healthy eating also. You want to level up. You can find healthier options. I mean, the technology and the way people have done things today, you can find. I mean, I remember hearing the word tofu years ago, and I was like, oh, I don't want to eat that. And when I saw it, I was like, ah. But tofu will take on the taste of whatever flavor, whatever you put it in. So it's not, and it does taste like meat. Now, as hard as it might be able to imagine that, it does. So, and you could try for lower fat options, healthy snack eating. And, there are some really good, yes, you can go on MarionTrainerNutrition.com or click on the link on MarionTrainer.com. And we do have a fat burning formula that is been proven. And the one thing about those supplements are you go read the studies, read the research that has been done. It's not just a supplement up there saying hit buy now. Just read the protocols and read why this supplement will do and what it will do for you. You need that explanation because a lot of times people buy supplements and they really do not know how to take them. And just to give you another Marion Trainer tip, it literally takes you anywhere between 90 to 120 days on a supplement to get its full benefit. So if you buy one bottle of something and you say, well, I took it for 20 days or 30 days and it didn't work, well, it's probably going to take a little longer than that. I know we all like the microwave effect, but, there's going to have to be some middle ground that you're going to have to put yourself in so you can say, okay, time and patience. That's what I preach, time and patience. And this one, a lot of people don't like to hear, but you want to level up. A part of your leveling up on your physical and mental is begin a good exercise program. And I know some people say, I don't have time for it, but do you have time to be sick? Do you have time to be aching all the time? So exercise, and if you get the right type of exercise, and it is difficult, it's a little difficult when people hear somebody talk about exercise because they're wondering, what is it that I'm supposed to do? Because I'm not really experienced. So that will either call you a beginner or intermediate. A beginner is that you just don't understand the concept or mind-muscle connection. You don't understand the concept about nutrition. And you pretty much don't know how to put what exercise together. That makes you a beginner. Intermediate is you've done some form of training. You just don't have the full knowledge that you can take it to the next step and step it up. Level up. So if you are a beginner, inbox me at mariontrainer40@gmail.com or info@mariontrainer.com. Let's get you on a little regimen. And I have also teamed up with a company that I produce exercises. I give them the exercise, they produce it for me, and I basically will chart out exercise for you. I have a beginning program, intermediate, and an advanced. And I'm setting everything up. So it'll be like a little membership, and it's going to be very affordable. And at the same time, it's going to help you. It's exercise you can do at home, exercise you can do at the gym. You just email me, tell me what it is that you're trying to do, and we'll get you there best way possible. So, and you can set up a consultation with me as well. But just remember, with me, I like to keep it simple, but I'm also like to make sure that you're serious. So for instance, if you set up a nutritional consultation, I'm going to tell you before we start talking, you need a 3-day log of how you eat. That's pretty difficult for a lot of people because now you got to write it down so you're actually seeing what you're doing to your body. And remember, even whether you drink sodas, whether you the burgers and fried foods, all that stuff not going to affect you like overnight. It takes time. So if you got 10 or more years of that kind of eating in your life, eventually it's going to take its toll on you. And of course, I stress this talking to all my diabetics out there. This is real. I have seen people lose limbs. I have seen people get, basically lack of blood flow. I've seen the diabetes affect someone's heart. So when you don't think that it's real because you can't see your heart, you can't see your veins, you can't see your arteries, you can't see the inside of your body, but the damage that you're doing to it is going to be heavy and strong. And it's not if it happens to you, it's when. So I don't want to go off on a tangent on that, but I want you to be mindful I'm never going to tell you you can't have anything or you can't eat that kind of stuff. I'm just going to show you how to reroute it. And so let me just be very, very clear with you. And I have firsthand experience. I lived in a house with a diabetic years ago. And I couldn't tell you the countless times, and we didn't have as much information back then, but the countless times that the ambulance came to our house. And because of adjusting our diet, the person had to adjust their diet. We had to adjust ours, which is why if you ever see me out, I will never use the salt because I grew up not using salt. Doesn't mean I'm telling you not to, but it just wasn't a main staple for me. So it is real. The things that can happen to you by not taking care of yourself as a diabetic, it will seem like it's coming swift and heavy, but it's been coming all along. You just didn't pay attention to it. You know, from some of the symptoms of feeling lightheadedness. Some people say, well, I don't like breakfast. So around 10 or 11, that feeling is called lethargic. And it's really a negative nitrogen balance, which means your body is like, hey, I don't have anything to fuel off of. So that's my signal to you. And if you keep ignoring it, and a lot of times people have passed out at work. Of course, it makes people be like, it scares people like, what happened? What's wrong with the person? And they'll probably get a diagnosis of you're hypoglycemic, which is basically the beginning stage of diabetes. So, exercise. You got to level up. And the other important thing is, and a lot of people say, hey, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, that might be more true than you ever thought. Poor sleeping habits, people thought it was caused by mental health disorders. But more recent research saying poor sleep can cause mental health problems and make them worse. So, and I'm guilty of it also. Sometimes I force myself to stay up when I really shouldn't. I get to reading something and researching something, and I'm like gone. And I look up, and the time is like almost 12 midnight, and I got to get up at 4:30. So I have been making myself like, okay, my routine is done by 9:30. By 10 o'clock, I really am trying to get into bed, just to give myself a chance. Because I don't know about you all, but I don't like getting up feeling tired. That is when you always lay back down because you still feel tired, and you like, ugh. Then you look up, you wake up, you're like 30 minutes behind. So sleep is definitely important. And I've just touched on a lot of this stuff about, and the third one I'm talking about is nutrition. You know, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear it. I get it, because it feels good, it tastes good. I get this high, but the high really is only a 20-minute temporary high. And you have to cut down on the sugary foods. You can replace them with nutrient-dense rich foods. Now, and everybody's different these days. You have pescatarians, you have vegetarians, you have carnivores, you have an array of people with what they like. All I'm going to tell you is whatever you choose to be, find out what are you lacking in that program and find a way to find a substitute for it. So I'm not praising one more than the other. You can do your research and see what's going to work best for you. But at the same time, your health is your wealth. You can play with it if you want to, and you're going to wake up, as I heard Simone saying, you'll wake up drunk and you didn't drink a drop. So again, I emphasize your health is your wealth. And one of the other things about leveling it up is if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I need to work on me. If you can't do that, if you're not putting yourself in a position to succeed within yourself, and as I've always told you all, working on yourself is the hardest thing you will ever do, because it calls for you to be honest. A little honest with yourself. Could I lose a little bit of here? Can I gain a little bit there? Yes and yes. But you have to be honest with yourself, and then you have to seek out the solution. Now, I know I've heard some people say, I want my legs to be a little trimmer. I want my chest to be a little tighter. I want my arms to be a little bigger. All that requires a plan. But I can motivate you all day. But if you're not consistent in what you're doing, it's not going to work. It's just not. And some will say, well, Marion, that's easy for you to say because you started out when you were young. Yes, I started out when I was 16. And it became a passion. Now, it may not be passionate for you, but if anything you want to do it for is your health and feeling good. I mean, I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and I'm just looking around. I was like, everybody's walking around with a frown. Like, is life really that bad? I mean, you are alive. And if you are alive and you have somewhat good part of your health and your strength, make the best of it. Because what you don't want is to be frowning and sad all the time, and then an illness hits you. Because all that's doing, stress will take you out. And I've all told you, I've had friends, you've heard me interview people on here. You know, stress is not something to play with. You could tell yourself, I'm gonna be all right, I can handle it. No, you can't. Your body on the inside is saying, we can't handle this. You might be talking, but you're talking in vain because I'm dying in here. So listen to the warning signs. If you are going to level up, the first thing you need to do is take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror and say, what do I need to work on? You know, I've had to level up on several occasions in my lifetime. And the biggest one is when I was on dialysis. And I'm sure a lot of you out there saying, I don't want that to happen to me. Well, I don't want it to happen to you either. But I will tell you, 3 days a week, 4 hours out of your day, that's the reality. And you talk about trying to level up, make adjustments. I mean, I had to make adjustments in my life, even down to the way I ate. So I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to give you the real. I can also tell you, I used to have to take these pills because when you're pretty much, when you're on dialysis or you're not taking care of yourself as a diabetic, your phosphorus levels are going to rise. And when your phosphorus, and you know one of the symptoms of a high phosphorus level, you itch constantly. I mean, just imagine when your back's itching, there's nobody to stretch it, and all you got is a wall because your arms can't reach all the way back there. It is insane. I can tell you that from experience. Also, not only did I have to be concerned about my phosphorus levels, I had to also take these pills. And it starts with an R. I can't remember the exact name of them, but they're pretty much horse pills. They're about that big right there. And you have to eat them after every meal to control the phosphorus, to absorb the phosphorus and get it pushed out of your body. Because if your phosphorus levels get too high, that's a dangerous level. So what I want to tell you is you could play with your health, especially diabetics out there. That's it. Someone wrote Revla. That is it. And I can tell you, it's no joke. And a lot of you out there complain about swallowing pills. But when you get a load of a horse pill like that, it is not a capsule. It is a chalky pill. And I'm giving you this real. Again, I'm saying to you, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you what I had to level up and do. And I'm also going to tell you this. I had to get a period of time, and I was on dialysis for 2 years. Well, within that 2 years, I had to get a blood transfusion. I got a blood transfusion because my hemoglobin just was being low. When the first time it happened to me, my hemoglobin went down to an 8. That is not good. It needs to be 10 to 12, above 10 to 12, for you to feel somewhat pretty much okay. So with that in mind, I wound up getting 2 blood transfusions. And they told me, if you have to get another blood transfusion, you will not be eligible to get a kidney. Now imagine how that felt in my mind. So I did what I had to do. I shaped up. I went back to my old bodybuilding days of, okay, I just can't have that. I can't have this. This is what I'll make the best of. And I did that. And as you know, 2 years later, I did get a kidney transplant. But I also will tell you, like you hear me talk about H2O now. Well, when you're on dialysis, you can only have 40 ounces of fluid a day. And that's in combination with the foods that you eat, because the foods you eat do liquefy. Talk about discipline. So sometimes if you ever see me out, you'll probably never really see me drink while I eat, because I was more on the side of let me eat and get a little fulfillment from there, and I always drank last. Now, if I know, because of what the prednisone does, I drink 8 to 16 ounces of water, and then I have what it is that I want. And I get the enjoyment from it without stretching my stomach. So this is all a part of the leveling up. You're not going to escape it. And I'm especially talking to the diabetics out there, because this is so real. Prednisone I have to take my glucose levels because it'll raise your glucose levels. So it's almost like I'm a diabetic, but I don't have all the issues that diabetics have. But I did do my research, and I did talk to a lot of them. It's rough. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this to educate you. And if you don't feel, another part of leveling up is always try to learn something new to better yourself. And I know it might seem I'm pushing it, but I do it because I took the course myself, and I'm even more knowledgeable after the course than I was before the course. So you can play around with it if you want. Hey, it's your choice. I'm here to deliver the information, and what you do with it, I hope that it helps. But really, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to you. So, and now the next thing we're going to talk about, leveling up in your job. I mean, a lot of people hear it and a lot of people, there's a lot of frustration goes with getting up in the morning, going to a job. If you've been doing it for five or 10 more years, you're going to have this thing in your mind where I'm tired. I'm getting frustrated with this because this is all I've done. And, what if I want to do something new? Well, you want to level up. You're going to have to learn something new. And one of the things you want to do is find a mentor. As hard as that might sound for some people who are saying, I'm not a people person, I don't want to be asking questions, those are usually the ones who are going to get left behind. Those are the ones who are probably going to wind up getting depressed. Seek out feedback. Ask them, how can I be better? And don't be in your feelings when they tell you you need to do X, Y, Z. Get out of your feelings. Your mind is going to, your mind has to be stronger than your feelings, because if not, you're going to fall by the wayside. You're going to not get better. You're always going to be finding yourself in that state of complaining. And those who complain usually do nothing. All right. And don't wait around for assignments. Be proactive. I know you might say, well, they're not paying me to do that. Well, maybe they're not paying you because you don't take the initiative to do anything to level up. So think about that. Our last one we're going to talk about, and usually nobody really wants to pay attention to it because it's almost like your back pockets. You know they're there. You don't have to turn around and look, but it's like you're taking it for granted. And we're going to talk about how to level up in your relationship. And trust me, I have been married 3 times. So I have a lot of experience. I've dated quite a few. I had to level up. And one of the things is, and it's not like you're losing your manhood or you're losing your womanhood, but you have to show your partner that they're special to you. You got to do that. It's work. But it can be fun, because one of my sayings, if knowing how much you love me makes me love you even more. Digest that. Or will I go a little further? Knowing you love me just as much as I love you makes me love you even more. All right. Solve problems together. Don't feel like you're on an island by yourself. Talk to your partner. Tell them what you're feeling. Because the biggest mistake people have is not communicating. You think you got to be Superwoman or Superman all the time for your partner. They can never see you down. They can never see you have moments. That is the biggest mistake you will ever make. The next one. Spend quality time with limit distractions. Could be hard to do, but it can be done. I've experienced that. And then you just have to, like Shaq said, man up. And the next one is, schedule some couple time. Even if it's a walk in the park, walk in the neighborhood, even if it's walk around in the mall, just a window shop. Just find quality time. Because between working and all the other responsibilities you have, and if you have children, that's even more work you're going to have to really put in. All right. And a lot of people don't realize this, but sometimes you need to check in and let your partner know how you're doing. A simple text. How are you? My day is going good so far. I hope yours is too. Just little things like that. I was once told by an older woman, what you do in the day will determine what happens at night. So if you're ignoring that person during the day, at night, they're not going to be a fan. So remember those words. And the other thing is, set long-term relationship goals. I think relationships are like renewing your driver's license. You need to revisit it. You say, are you happy? Are you feeling well? Is there something you feel like we're lacking as a couple? Ask those type of questions. And your partner should not be afraid to have their feelings. Your feelings are all you have. And if you is someone that you married or you're in a serious relationship with, and you say you trust them, and if you're talking to them, and they don't want to understand your feelings, and you shut down, and vice versa, what do y'all have? All you have is an arrangement. And if you keep doing that and you don't nourish your relationship, technically what you are glorified roommates. Work on your relationship. And the thing of it is, invest your time and energy into being a couple. I'm not saying you got to do that 24 hours around the clock, but know that your relationship is an investment. It is. Even with your friends outside, it's an investment. They treat you good, you treat them well. Don't try to use each other, but treat them well. I'm on this side of, I like to help those who are willing to help themselves. If you're not trying to help yourself, and another thing is, you can say that all day, but words are cheap. Action speaks louder than words. Need y'all to remember that. So I'm going to end this by today and say, if you are not ready to level up, you need to get ready. And the thing about this, say, you stay ready to be ready. Work on you. And when you're working on you, it makes it better for the people around you to engage with you, to look forward to talking to you. Because what you don't want is when people hear you, they know you by your knock, and they hear your steps coming, and they do this. Oh God, here they go again. I know this is going to be sickening. You don't want that. Work on loving yourself. That's the first step. Because if you don't love you, how are you going to love someone else? How are you going to expect someone to love you? No one can give you enough love to love yourself. If you're depending on someone to give you love so you can love yourself, you're going to be sad, heartbroken, and disappointed. But if you love yourself, it's easy for you to love someone else. So again, I will say this to you all. At the end of the day, if not you, then who? If not now, when? I'm Marion Trainer, always trying to bring you the most simple, keep it simple method so you can attack or approach whatever endeavor in your life that you're dealing with. I'll do my best to give you the best information that can be useful and helpful. Y'all have a wonderful Sunday. And as always, take care of yourselves, but most of all, take care of each other.